Hello, this is RJB and I am back again with another nice long video full of action and top tier content, at least so I hope. Because I went through a lot of trouble to acquire these replays, so I really want to get some dividends off of these in terms of enjoyment and hype. So here we've got top tuned Lucky on the White Zerg, and he's not making drones. He's not making drones. He's doing something very far out of the ordinary. He's going for a 5 pool. That just blows my mind. I did not expect this replay to be starting off with a 5 pool. That's just very far out there. And his opponent is Balmuang, or Palmewang, as the Koreans would say it. And this is one of the usernames used by Mong in early April. I think it was early April. Yeah, early April. This is the name he used. And this is from a set of tag team matches played by Brain God, Minchul, Hamburger Sasu, Mong, Rabbit, and of course Lucky. The loser rotates out, the winner stays. I think that was the concept. This is very spicy stuff, because Mong is going for a proxy mid-gate build order here, and he's up against 5 pool, which means those Zerglings are going to come out into the middle of the map and cancel this entire proxy mid-gate from even happening, which is the spiciest stuff we have seen in a while. One of the only players that tries to do this spicy stuff, like, this is like habanero pepper or ghost pepper, California Reaper levels of spiciness in terms of, I mean, this is a pure cheese, but it's spicy nonetheless because you don't expect it. It's so spicy. And it's really going to amp up the hype and bring some hype into the game. I'm sure he's going for a defensive build order here. He makes his cannons there at this base because he has to defend his main instead of focusing on this here on the middle, because this doesn't really have a function. So he goes for this defensive style here. He puts probes there to block the Zerglings. Zerglings are trying to get on there. They're going for the probes first. Going for the probes first buys time for the cannons to come up. He gets around on that one cannon, but another cannon there is on the way, and the Zerglings are dying to the probes. This is kind of like a hard choice that Luckyback has to make here. To go for one or the other. And in the process of all that happening, the cannon stays up. The cannon stays up on 8 HP. That's very close. If that Zerg had gotten 2 more hits, this cannon would have gone down, and Luckyback could have sent in more waves of Zerglings to finish his opponent off, but that's not going to happen. Instead, he stays alive, but only on 6 probes and a single Zealot. He doesn't have another Zealot on the way because he has to invest in that single cannon there at his main, which means that this very spicy, cheesy opening from Luckyback does not get a kill, but it does so much damage to his opponent. Here, Mong, he was down to 6 probes, whereas Luckyback had already progressed onto 8 drones by that point. It's going to take him a little while to progress any further, but nonetheless, he managed to progress ahead and propel ahead of Mong, which is really very far out of the ordinary. This is going to be a very different match, where pretty much whatever knowledge I have about this matchup might not apply, because they might just be going for full-on improvisation based off of their knowledge and what they're seeing. Because first of all, this is looking somewhat like a standard build order, but these 2 Sunkers were very early, which means that he doesn't have to invest into any defense anymore. He can just comfortably get those hatcheries up and running, get the gas, and prepare himself for the attack that Mong is trying to prepare. But Mong pretty much has no income because he's down to 11 probes. As a very slowly progress forward. He does have an assimilator on the way, but putting probes on the gas this early onto the game will only leave him with about 8 probes to mine his minerals, which is not all that many. So he's waiting for more to spawn. He might put them on the gas very soon. Starts with 1, starts with 2, starts with 3. Now we have 9 probes mining minerals. That's a very low income, whereas Luckyback is on 8 drones mining minerals, and he's progressing his Sunkens forward, but those Zealots are trying to get in on top of the Sunken, but there's 2 Sunkens behind there, so it makes it a little bit hard for him to progress forward and stop these Sunkens from coming down. He's making cannon there now on the top side. He's got this pool within its range, and there's more Zealots here now on the scene. There's a chance he might stop that Sunken from popping, but he's now throwing up 3 creep colonies at the same time. They're very costly investment. He's got a Hireless Den there on the way as well. And he's gonna try to stop those cannons from happening here with those Sunkens. Will he be in time though? Because now Mong feels he can go in, but he's getting targeted by 3 Sunkens there at the same time, so he won't be able to take down all of those creep colonies, but he might just buy enough time for his cannon to come up and start damaging one of those creep colonies before it turns into a Sunken. But there's simply so many of those Sunkens coming up. 2 of them will go down. Number 3 also goes down. Number 4 there. So 1 cannon goes down, 2 Sunkens go down, but 2 Sunkens are staying alive. So I'm going to try to get the Sunken down with the help of a single Zealot so that 2 cannons can take it down, but it all survives, which means that now this Sunken can take out a cannon, and these Zergons can take on these cannons here in the back that are being morphed in. Same for that Robotics, which will have to be cancelled, because there's no Zealots here on the way from Mong, because he discontinued his cannon production, Zealot production to build cannons, but it backfired quite hard, so there he is forced to cancel it, and also loses some of the investment that he put into that Robo. So Luckyback stays alive, but nothing that I didn't expect to be happening, simply because the game was equalized in such a well-played manner by Luckyback, although it was purely a cheese that got him the result, but it really puts him in a good spot here. Forced to make the Sun a little bit further away because the cannon can hit this far, but the thing he wants to do is he wants to stop this from happening. He wants to stop these cannons from getting a good surround here on his base to make it easy for those Reavers that are going to be coming out here from the base to start pushing towards his drones. So we've got that little bit covered there for Luckyback. He is progressing forward. I'm gonna turn the music sound a little bit lower. I think it's a little bit too loud. Maybe it's a little bit too silent. I'd rather have it a little bit more silent on the background and have it up very loud where everyone can hear it and it starts obstructing the quality of the game. So Sunken there attacking. Actually, this game sound might just be going back up again. I'm just gonna throw it back up there a little bit again. Wasn't that bad. So yeah, Luckyback now on 5 macro hatcheries, of which 3 are finished and 2 are on the way. He cancels his lair. He's got different things in mind. Got a second gas there on the way, shuttle on the way there for Mong, and a support bay also on the way here inside of his base. Just now finishing up. More pylons, of course, also being constructed because he needs more supply space because he got stuck for a little while. Got 1 Reaver now here on the way in the middle. Reaver number 2 also queued up. He's got 3 gateways there, 1 gateway here in the base. He got a Citadel of doing the way inside his base there as well. So he's going to make more and more Zealots. Probably going for a combined force of Reavers and Zealots to push through the front here. But Luckyback is in the process of growing steadily bigger and bigger. He's on 31 drones now, up against 26 probes. So his income is higher than Mong's. So Mong is lagging behind a little bit in that regard, but he's going to add on a... no. I thought I was going to add on an extra Nexus, but he's staying on a single Nexus build, which means his income is going to stay low up until at least the 10 minutes into the game. This is only 1 probe finishing per 14 seconds, minus about half a second. That's negligible. You could always account for about 14 seconds in total for those workers to spawn, which is roughly at about 4 workers a minute. So it's gonna take a while before he hits that point where he becomes really rich and capable of a lot of macro. Whereas Luckyback, having so many hatcheries and feeling so little pressure from Mong's very small economy trying to progress deeper into Luckyback's base, makes him feel very safe and comfortable, because he's even just throwing away Hydralisk there, trying to get those Reavers. Reaver stays alive by a couple of hits and starts hitting those Sunkens once again. Mong controlling the shuttle there, flying back and forth so we can pick up that Reaver before it goes down to the Hydralisks, because you don't want to lose it. Spending his minerals at the same time as he is microing it. That's actually really impressive. Spending his minerals at the same time. As you can see, spending it at the same time. That's really impressive stuff there from Mong. Although, to be expected from a pro player, Luckyback goes in from 3 different directions against the surround on the Reavers and the Zealots, and he might actually push through there unless those Reavers here behind the cannons will take down... Yes, the Hydralisks get forced away by those 3 Reavers there behind the safety of those couple of cannons. Not a lot of cannons, but they just make the difference that Luckyback needs to keep himself safe. Goes in, tries to kill the Reaver. Reaver gets picked. No, Reaver goes down in the end. Pretty great pickup there from Luckyback. And retreats back to the corners of his base just in case a drop is coming. But Mong is focusing purely on the push here. Once again, Hydralisk there going in on the top side, take down the Reaver on the bottom side going down there as well. Gets his shuttle too. 2 more Reavers are on the way. Once Reaver is still alive, the push is not progressing all that much. Both players are on similar economy sizes, but Luckyback has more production ability because he simply has more of those hatcheries, and his units are significantly cheaper than Mong's units are. But Mong nonetheless is progressing forward, although he stopped making probes for a little while, whereas Luckyback also stopped making drones for a little while. But the fight is very scrappy, the fights are small, but the fights are yielding results for both players. Luckyback stops the pushes. Mong manages to progress a little bit further with each push, but mostly losing his zealots and his reavers in the process, which gives Luckyback the opportunity to rebuild it in the downtime that there's no reavers. He tries to go in, gets a couple of cannons down, now focuses on the reaver. Reaver's gonna go down as well there, but the reaver micros backwards, and all of the Hylists actually go down before the 2 reavers go down. And he uses the shield battery to restore most of the shields on those units, but Luckyback doesn't want to give Mong the opportunity to get comfortable and set up here in the front. Tries to go in, but he sees that it's a little bit too difficult because those cells are zoning Hylists away, and there's 2 reavers there. The reavers are strong as hell, as we've often seen in the past. Another probe there, moving to the front because the probe got sniped just earlier. And now Luckyback goes in once again, tries to get on top. They tries to stop the cannons, but it doesn't quite work because the reavers simply force them away. Both players still progressing on their worker count, 36 drones. 35 for Mong. Goes in for the frontal push. He's getting pretty close to the drone line there. But more Hylists are on the way to respawn, and loses one of the reavers there. It goes on top of the sun guns, but the sun guns there, the zealots are taking a lot of damage. The reavers are trying to finish them off, but now Hylists coming in from the bottom side, ready to take down those reavers, but the reavers are actually shooting on the exact same Hylists, which means that these Hylists are going to get more damage in than they should have. And one of the reavers there goes down, but the reavers there are retreating. Zealots there on the top have gone down. Zealots there penetrating through all the way through the backs of the base, just making sure so you can see what's in there. See that there's a spire there on the way. Reavers now overextending, and Reavers are both going to fall. There's one more Reaver there in the back behind some cannons, which means Luckyback once again has to pull back his Hylist to the safety of his base. Though you could actually say there's not much safety here, because this is the battlefield, and the battlefield is pretty much knocking on his front door. Or you could even say it's happening inside his living room. They're fighting in his living room, but now he's on 54 drones. He is propelling forward and ahead of Mong by quite some miles, and it's got Mulisks on the way, and Mulisks are just fine and dandy and absolutely great against these ground forces that Mong has, because none of these units can attack against air, but he's got cannons there to protect against Mulisks, so he can very slowly progress forward with the Reavers and make some cannons to protect the Reavers and slowly inch closer and closer to his destination, namely those drones there on the minerals or the hatchery itself, or possibly this Hylist den, which is now looking rather exposed if Mong does decide to go here to that bottom portion of Luckyback's base. He tried to go for the Nexus, but he saw that there's a lot of cannons there, so he has to pull back his Mulist to his base and wait for another chance. There he goes, gets some pretty good shots off on the Reaver because there's no cannons defending it. Might get a second one, but there's a lot of damage going on to his Mulist there, and he simply restores the shield with the shield battery. Shield batteries are quite useful if you know how to use them. And it looks like Mong most certainly knows how to use that shield battery. So Luckyback here spots a weakness in the formation that Mong has and finds a pylon there in the back to take down, which now means a couple of these gateways are unpowered, but another pylon there is on the way. Now he flies around back to his base and will regroup with more Mulisks, and the Mulisks are looking for a way in here, but that's so many cannons, so many Reavers. Will he be able to progress forward? Will he be able to get shit done? And he is getting shit done here because he kills the cannons that are powering while protecting the robos, as he killed the cannons on the top side there as well. Mong has stopped his pusher in the front because there's a lurker there in the front, and the lurker is stopping the Reavers from progressing forward because Mong does not have detection. Back there getting a little bit over eager, going in a little bit too deep, and now he has to focus on the pylon to try and depower those two robos, but the robos will stay powered by these two pylons here. This is the range of those pylons, so they're completely fine, but he's going to focus this pylon on now. He's getting stuff done, whereas Mong is waiting on an observer to spawn so he can fight his way through the lurkers here in the front, whereas Luckyback is at the moment still forced to make more Mulisks because ground forces don't really do all that well against this many Reavers, this many cannons, that many Zealots. So the fight is staying rather tense, although Luckyback once again makes a small minor mistake there, loses a lot of his Mutalisks. Luckily there's more Mutalisks on the way. Luckyback is very, very rich. He needs a lot of gas. He's got a lot of minerals in the bank that he cannot physically spend. Mong overreaches a little bit, tries to kill the Observer, but the Lurker has already go down, so there's no longer a purpose in killing the Observer, but he might try to go for it regardless. Hive has finished. He might have a Greater Spire on the way very soon as well, but first he's going to try to mute and micro some of those Reavers down. But in the process, once again, Shield Battery repairs the Reaver. Reaver stays alive, kills the Observer in the end regardless. And yeah, now Corsairs are also out there for Luckyback, for Mong. He's now on 51 probes, 52 for Lucky. Game is progressing very, very slowly. This game looks very scrappy, and the fights are very small scaled, but both players have to keep the pressure up on the other, because if they don't, their opponent will find a way to break out or break through. So that's why we're not seeing drops yet, because a drop would break the sense of pressure that Luckyback is feeling here on the front, whereas Luckyback cannot go for the Nexus that Mong has, because Mong has all those cannons around his Nexus here, and he's got Corsairs as well. Corsairs are protecting the Reavers, which now means that Luckyback is in a pretty nasty spot here, because those Reavers are almost knocking on the door. They're ready to take down his drones. He loses his pool. Reavers are moving forward. He's focusing. Oh, he moves into those Sunkens first, and the Corsairs are actually overextending into Hydralisks. He does kill a couple of those Mutalisks, but now the Corsairs are chasing into Hydralisks, and the Hydralisks are going to take them down, so he's now free to make Guardians within the time that there are no Corsairs out on the map. Although Corsairs are spawning right now, but nonetheless those Guardians will just be fine. There's only 2 Corsairs and a bunch of Hydralisks there below them. So he might be capable of taking down those Reavers. One of the Reavers actually goes down to the Sunken. Zealot's now going in there as well. He kills about 12 of those drones there. Most of the drones have retreated back to safety behind the hatchery, behind the hive. And now Luckyback is going for the counter push. He's clearing out the cannons, clearing out those Reavers, going for the Reavers first. The Reavers there behind the cannons means that those Hydralisks cannot achieve much. But nonetheless, he's cleared out the entire force there from Mong. Mong has to rebuild his force, but he's got a lot of minerals in his bank. Although not a lot of gateways, but he's got a lot of minerals in his bank. 59 probes, now ahead by about 20 over Luckyback. But Luckyback has Guardians, and his Guardians are very slowly pushing forward under the protection of Scorches, a single Devourer, and a couple of Hylists there on the low ground below the Guardians to protect those Guardians from those Corsairs. Every time the Corsairs go forward, Luckyback will try to match it with sending his Hylists in to kill the Corsairs, which means the Corsairs are actually, at the moment, not very effective. Also, the Reavers cannot go forward to kill the Hydralisk because there's Guardians there. So it honestly looks like Luckyback is gonna stay alive for a little while longer. It was very close. Just now it was very close. The game could have ended if Luckyback had played it differently, but he chose the exact correct course of action. A lot of hatches there on the top side. He's got about 10. He's got 9 hatches there on the top side, 1 on the bottom side, so a total of 10 macro hatcheries. And the Guardians here are tearing through this entire nice little construction area of construction, cannons, cannon mass that Mong had inside of Lucky's base, and Lucky seems to be breaking free. He just wanted to break free, and he is, in fact, breaking free. Scorches there flying back and forth looking for Corsairs, but there's no Corsairs there. Corsairs have returned to base, now returning back to the cannons, where the Scorches cannot hurt them. A lot of gateways coming out there as well, because he needs a lot of gateway units to keep the pressure up, and he might need Dragoons, so he might need more gas, but he's only on a single Nexus. He's making another one there on the top side here. Actually, massive fight happening here on the middle. Zealots are going in, Hylists are forced to go in there as well to take care of the Corsairs. Corsairs took down a lot of the Guardians and taking down more Guardians, which now means that the cannons also firing on the Guardians. Zealots are actually penetrating through all the way to the back, which now means Luckyback has to make a lot of new Hylists, a lot of new Mutalisks to try and match this or otherwise lose his base. He's coming in from all sides. Hylists are spawning. He gets the Reavers. One more Reaver there in the back. Reaver is going to be taken down by the Guardians, but 2 Templars have spawned there in the mix as well. But the Templars don't have energy for storms yet at the moment. They do now. Those storms are going to be coming out very soon. There comes 2 beautiful storms. Luckyback doesn't dodge them because he's busy with something else, but he is actually breaking through. he has sufficient units to break through this, although Zealots here, Dragoons coming in as well. And they have level 2 weapon upgrades, whereas Luckyback is on 0-0. Actually turn a couple of those lurkers in the front there into X, so they function as a wall, making it harder to attack those Hydralisks, but also saving the low HP Hydralisk from going down before they die. They'll have full HP again once they are finished morphing into lurkers. Observers there also being forced away. Now the entire mid build here, the mid proxy from Mong, is at risk of going down, which now means Luckyback has finally broken free. The thing he set out to do, he achieved it. He is now free. Although, Mong very close to hitting maximum supply cap, and he might just go for a very strong and hard counter push here, but he needs his observer to fight against those lurkers there, and he does not have a robo in his base at the moment. He's not making robos. He's going to rely on that single observer he's got right there, but that observer has very low HP, very little armor, well, shield. So it might go down very quick if he doesn't pay attention well enough. Oh, never mind. There he goes. He loses the observer. He still has Templars there though, so he might take care of those lurkers with the Templars. At the moment, Luckyback seems to be trying to macro up really quick, build a new base really fast, get more drones on his minerals, more drones on his gas, get more hatcheries, and protect himself against future drops that he's expecting to be flying in from Mong anytime soon. Mong on 77 probes. Luckyback on 61 drones, and Luckyback returns back to his base. He does not want to risk running into a superior mass, which Mong at the moment does have. He has a superior mass. This is a very big mass. But he doesn't have observers to take care of the lurkers, which is something Luckyback is not taking into account, because Luckyback does not know that Mong does not have an observer. He does have more robots on the way here on the top side, so he can make new drops, new reavers, new observers very soon, but first he needs an observatory, which he had on the middle of the map, I think, because I don't see an observatory anywhere here in his base. So he definitely had that out here on the middle. He lost that. Templars trying to go in, Templars storming on lurkers, but actually missing all but one. So it doesn't get anything done there, very sadly speaking. So this frontal portion of mass lurkers here from Luckyback is getting results. These lurkers here morphing are also gonna get results. There's no lurkers around his hive, so storm drops might actually be lethal. But there is a Hydralisk here, well, a group of Hydralisks here on the bottom side, ready to snipe and intercept the shuttle in case it comes down from here. But Overlords, of course, there to provide vision over the wall. Mong goes in because he needs supply space. He just needs supply space, so he's gonna run in and sacrifice a bunch of his zealots. But sacrificing a bunch of his zealots does, in theory, expose him to a frontal attack from Luckyback. So Mong playing with fire there, but Luckyback at the moment incapable of maxing out instantly. He wants to be safe first. Better safe than sorry. So he doesn't go for the counterattack. Instead, he gives Mong the chance to rebuild the mass composition that he wants, while also finishing up his own base and getting the units that he needs. And I cannot stress this enough, this is a lot of lurkers. I think this is about 20 lurkers here in total. Yeah, exactly 20 actually, because this is 12, well 18. 18, my bad. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 12, for a total of 18. That's how many I count. It's still a lot of lurkers though, because they do take, I think, 4 or 3 supply each in total. Which is a lot. Maybe it's 2. I'm not too sure. I should know, but I forgot. I just forgot. So, pretty much all the upgrades that you can imagine are on the way for both players. Luckyback is prioritizing Carapace, which is already on level 1. Level 2 Needle Spines are on the way. Whereas Mong is upgrading his shields and his armor now after he has already finished his weapons. So, despite the very scrappy game so far, Mong has managed to keep upgrading and progressing forward. And also a lot of cannons here to protect himself against those very dreadful Overlord drops that players like to use, and they just drop it somewhere in the enemy base and kill a lot of stuff and potentially add some Divilator in the mix. But Luckyback at the moment is camping it out, because he is finally feeling safe after 20 minutes. And he knows he needs a base. He needs more hatcheries. He needs more of his tech upgraded. He just needs more stuff. Mong goes in with a drop, but the drop has no shuttle speed, but the Templar there comes in range of the... It is in range, but doesn't have energy. That's unfortunate. More Templars are dropping in top well, on top of the lurkers. So the Templars go down immediately. He's got another 12 lurkers here around his main. This is like overkill. Oh, never mind. He moved some of his lurkers from the front to the backside. I think. Well, yeah, he moved about 3 from the front side to the backside, but then he made another 6 or 7 here. He's got like 30 lurkers in his base, which is a lot of lurkers. And having that many lurkers makes it very hard to be the aggressor, because lurkers are very defensive units, unless you drop them somewhere in the enemy base, but then they are still very static passive units that don't do all that much. And he actually manages to kill the energy on the Dark Archon. He gets it Parasite infected, well, detected. So another drop attempt. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of hallucinations. So he's gonna go for a massive real shuttle drop and a massive fake shuttle drop at the same time. Both, of course, are gonna be sent in at the same time. Well, this one is gonna try to fly around, and I'm not sure if that's a wise choice, because there's so much static defense, so many hydralisks all around the base of Luckyback. He's got vision everywhere. Well, this lurker is just there, some of the lucky vision. He goes in, gets spotted out by Hydralisk, drop there, unloading right next to the hive. The Templars didn't make it through. Luckyback dodges the storm. His drones are here. He dodged the storm really well. He's got all of his drones hotkey that he needs hotkey. He lost a couple of them that he didn't have hotkey, but he has everything he needs hotkeyed, so he can dodge storms very quick and easily. Luckyback now going into Mong's base, trying to take down the top side here. Mong has to formulate a response very quick, because I think Luckyback is done with waiting. He's adding on more hatcheries. There's a total of 8, 12, 13, 14 hatcheries. I think that's about the number you need, although you might always go for more. It doesn't hurt to go for 20, although realistically speaking you can... What? He's going for scouts? Madman went for mass scouts. I have not been paying attention well enough, but there comes a plague, which means it's going to go down very quick, but he's sniping those overlords with some great micro snipes, and the fighter there as well, and the drone there as well. Now trying to snipe whatever he can find, but those scouts are going to go down because they are running out of their health way too quick. Their shields are staying up, so there's still 100 damage left to be dealt to them, but Luckyback is not planning on giving Mong the time to transition away from scouts, and goes for the frontal attack there with... Well, goes for the push with those lurkers and Hydralisk and the Dark Swarm, and pushing through all those cannons before those cannons actually become a nuisance and wall off the entire front here, which will make it very hard for him to move out. So you have to be proactive sometimes in some situations. So Mong is going for more scout. Why is he going for scouts? I'm not quite sure why he's stacking up on scouts. I don't agree with this choice. He's got 8 of them finished up. He's making cannons there in the front. He doesn't have... He's got coursers on the way as well. I'm not understanding his unit composition, but at the moment it looks to be just enough. Because these cannons are providing detection of everything that's under the Dark Swarm, so the Reaver can clear this entire portion up. Luckyback sends in more units, but Luckyback can send in almost no units whatsoever. Is he doing stasis? He's doing stasis on drones and stuff that's here. Drop comes in with the top side. There's 2 Reavers in there. A lot of lurkers are on the scene. The Reavers get a shot off on the drone. No, wait, he killed the Nexus. So he went for the Nexus with the scouts and finishes it off. He went for the hive with mass drops, and then with the scouts, and then he finished it off with the Reaver. I have not been paying enough attention. I am very sorry, but that's what he was doing. Now Templars now under the Dark Swarm, killing those Hydralisks and those lurkers. Impossible for Luckyback to detect, though he uses his ensnare to detect the Dark Templars under the Dark Swarm, but he has to burrow up his lurkers if he wants to kill them. There's detection here as well with the Observer. Devourer comes in, and actually Luckyback is progressing forward here, deeper into Mong's base. He's only got a couple of Reavers there. He's got another Arbiter there. He's got coursers on the way there as well. The scouts are holding off those units quite well. Observer detecting the lurkers. Reavers are clearing out everything that's coming in. Great double stasis there on Overlords and on the Hydralisks. This might take a while. purely because Luckyback has very little minerals at the moment because he's on 72 drones, but he has to travel a short distance to get the income, which is hurting him quite a bit. He's got about 30 drones on his gas, so we should be counting on about 42 drones mining minerals, which is not that much, not that many, when you take into consideration he has to travel a short distance to get it. If he still had his hive, this would be a perfect amount. At the moment he might need about 82 instead of 72. But he's not planning on doing that, he's planning on just massing up, though it's a very slow and tedious process. It's actually an awfully slow process here. He's stuck on very low supply, which is actually looking really great for Mong, because Mong is going to go for recalls once he has the energy. Because that's what he's doing with those Reavers, those Templars, and those Zealots. He's going to recall them into Luckyback's base under the cover of carriers with interceptors and, of course, full upgrades. Where are the Corsairs? I want to see the upgrades. He's got 232 air upgrades, and he's got 2 or 3. He's got level 3 ground upgrades there as well. So he has been upgrading very steadily, whereas Luckyback only on 2 force ground forces, and he's scrambling for money, making lurks on the side because he knows what Mong is up to, but he also cannot attack. He's forced to defend. Really great defensive webs there, disruption webs coming down there to make sure that those cannons here can get warped in. Because lurkers are on the top side. Instead, lurkers now can take down. No, more disruption webs coming down there. This is a very funny game. This is a very entertaining game with a lot of unorthodox stuff happening that you don't ever see. I think both players kind of know that they want to make this a fun match because this match has gone the distance. So might as well make it a fun one instead of a standard one. And this is a fun one. They're actually doing really great and good stuff, but they're not just forcing their masses into the other person's mass. They're trying to specialize a little bit, have great tech, great defense, great mixes of units, great unit combinations that are tough to fight through. So it's not just bashing their heads into a wall, but spamming Hydralisks or spamming Lurkers or spamming Guardians. There is some thought behind this, and I really like that. So the Reavers here hanging and waiting for their interceptors. Luckyback, still on low minerals. Hasn't really added on any new drones, but he is getting there slowly but surely. Because at the moment his job is amassing up Hydralisks, Dark Swarms, and Plagues with those Defilers, so we can fight against the incoming doom that Mong wants to throw down on him. He's got a whole bunch of Arbiters coming in here on the top side. Gonna go, no, he splits up the Arbiter from the group because he sees that there's queens there and he doesn't want to lose his Arbiter to the queen. Or that the Plague does the trick as well and he kills the Arbiter. I did not know that Plague also cancels hallucinations. So you don't just have to use Ensnare, you can use Plague as well. And Plague is an instant spell, you cannot miss it, so it's way easier to use Plague than Ensnare, because Ensnare is a targeted ability. It may miss or not hit the exact spot you want, whereas Plague is instant. There's no projectile being fired, it's an instant Plague on a whole lot of units. That's actually a great detail that I'm going to use on my own play. When I want to stop, or when I'm playing against Arbiter Recalls as a Zerg, I'm going to Plague those hallucinations and stop the entire thing from happening. But Mong wants to try again. He doesn't quite know where to go in through. He is doing some recon with that Corsair. But the information he's got is not that plenty. Well, actually, I want to see it, but I can't. Because, you know, the observer mode is a little bit messy. Like, its entire base just disappears. So now it's Mutalisk and Scorches hunting the Arbiters because he knows they're coming. He gets a great stasis off. So now Luckyback has to make a choice between which of the two Arbiters use their stasis. And he actually goes for the right one. This one stays alive, but he's going to die very soon there as well. He doesn't get the recall off. It means once again, Mong is just going to be sitting in his base, waiting for Arbiter recall energy, but being physically incapable of recalling. Because the Arbiter gets taken down every single time, so now he just gives up and he goes for the frontal attack, which might actually be the better choice of the two. He's gonna have to pull those carrier. Where did the carriers just die? Looks like he sacrificed the carriers. I can't find them anywhere. He's just making arbiters and courses now, so while that was happening, he sacrificed his carriers into the spores here as well. And this is a pretty interesting dynamic here. Mulus, Scorch hunting for shuttles. Mong is playing. Mong is kind of playing. They're both playing this one. They're just messing around. Oh, he's trying to go for the mind control. The Dark Argon stays alive, but there's no drones anywhere to be seen, so it's not even going to work. Though he might have an Arbiter recall somewhere in his base, but he doesn't have the energy for a recall. So we're just going to be seeing that shuttle flying back and forth, trying to make its way in, but physically being incapable of making its way in, because Luckyback is defending it pretty well. Luckyback's minerals are still quite low, 1700, 1800, still sitting below 2000. He's still building and adding on to his base, and now starts moving out with Guardians here on the side. Take down these cannons on the top side to give himself a little of a window to go into. Whereas Mong's Corsairs are now taking down Overlords there on the top side to deny Lucky vision, but the vision is getting re-established by those Devourers and those Scourges that are trying to take down those Corsairs. Not much is going on. Both players are just trying to formulate something that can be a pretty great penetrative or killing blow. And Mong's attempts at killing blows have not really been working. If he had gotten those Reavers into anywhere in Luckyback's base, he could have started wreaking some havoc. But Luckyback has denied it. It kind of looks like nothing is happening, but a lot is happening. Of course, it's there, scaring those queens away. Queen actually didn't do anything there at the moment, but it might throw down some Brootlings on those Reavers, which is pretty painful for the Reavers because Reavers go down on the Brootlings. Now Guardians being set there up on the hill here. Got 4 Arbiters. One of them with energy for a recall. 2 with energy for recalls. I think 2 of energy for recalls, 2 almost of energy for recalls. He might even use Stasi. Not too sure. Corsairs there scaring those Guardians away. Devourer gets forced away as well. The Devourers are actually hanging in the base there. And Luckyback is very slowly trying to break through the side here, but Mong is defending it really well. Once again, gets the Parasite on the probe, so he has vision. There's a Parasite on a Reaver there as well, so he has vision still, which makes it easier to fight over the hill here, although he also has vision on top of the hill thanks to that single... Oh, he actually sees it. I think he can see it because he has those Parasites giving him vision, so he can see the thing happening. Oh, he gets a recall off there with those disruption webs, helping him get the Arbiter in. He didn't use the Queen and Snare because he had only used all the energy. But look at this, the Reavers go down within seconds. Because he's got those, well, 4 Sunkens there and 5 Lurkers, 6 Lurkers there in the bottom corner. Guardians and Hylas there as well. And Mong losing those Reavers there is actually quite painful. Losing the Arbiters is quite painful because now he is at a huge supply deficit. 157 against 200, which means Mong is now going to move out. But do keep in mind, Luckyback is going to move out and attack, but do keep in mind, Luckyback does not have that many units, because a lot of his supply is in static Lurkers sitting here to protect his base. He does have Mulus on the way, but these fights are not going to be very big. Purely because he needs those defensive Lurkers, because if any of those recalls from Mong land in this base without there being Lurkers to kill those Reavers, he is going to deal some damage. So he's somewhat forced to keep a relatively small army size, but the small army size is getting results. Scouts are coming in to kill these air units, but Mong is going to find himself incapable of using those scouts because the Devourers are debuffing them to having pretty much no damage whatsoever. Hylas now finally moving out as well. Lurkers also being unburrowed and going for the attack. He knows this is his chance. This is the one shot he needs because he is pretty much peeling through Mong's base. And this game is really showing that, Mong does know how to play Protoss for Zerg, but this game is just so wacky, weird, and out of the ordinary. He even tried to do some stuff that is, I don't know, not the best option, but still a good option. But Luckyback just held it every single time. And now Mong's base is being peeled down, torn down from side to side. Mass scouts on the way here though from Mong. Kind of a troll move, but it might just be what he needs because there's only one Devourer there that is unfrozen. so he might be capable of pushing through his entire army here from Luckyback with those scouts. But do keep in mind, scouts don't do that much damage. He still has one more arbor there. He's gonna stasis the Devourers there. I hope he loses it. Now the scouts are coming in. Scouts are killing stuff. Dark Templars also killing stuff. But there's an overlord there in the back. Scouts are doing quite some work, but the debuff from the just unfrozen Devourers are going to render these scouts useless and render them very weak, because they take more damage from every single source the more debuff they have on them. Mong realizes, so he sacrifices those scouts. He needs supply space for gateway units and, well, full HP air units, which he is making with only 8 Stargates at a time, which is not that quick. And Luckyback is progressing deeper and deeper, peeling the onion that is Mong's base. We didn't get really any super big epic fights this game, but I kind of enjoyed all these small scrappy fights happening non-stop. All these small individual interactions between both players. Not a big epic action game, but definitely an entertaining game. It ultimately comes down to Mong just going for somewhat of a wacky bad strategy that backfires despite getting that hive, that main that he wanted, but at what cost? Luckyback had become too big because the pressure had gone down for quite a while, and there being no pressure on a Zerg simply means the Zerg is going to become too big for you to handle, and Mong is experiencing that firsthand. He's playing against the... Wait, are they AFK? I think they stopped playing here. Like, the replay is not broken, they just stopped playing. They just completely stopped playing. They just... I think they're talking on I think they were talking on Discord, because they were on Discord together while playing this match. I'm just gonna speed this up because nothing is happening now. Like, both players know the match is over, and they're just talking on Discord. Or maybe the replay is broken. Maybe the replay is broken. Maybe the replay is broken. I mean, their APMs are very high, but nothing is happening here. So the replay is broken. I'm not sure at which point it broke, but... When did it break? When did it break? Oh dear, if I just casted a 46-minute game and it broke halfway through and I didn't notice, then 1, I'm stupid. That's for sure. That means I'm dumb. But I'm pretty safe to say that right here, right now, it's not yet broken, because this is very peculiar, specific stuff that you wouldn't be seeing out of a broken replay. This you also wouldn't be seeing out of a broken replay. So you're just gonna keep watching it at an 8x speed and try to differentiate at which point the replay just went foobar and stopped making sense. Like, this is still being controlled very well. So this is all still both players doing what they intended to be doing, and the replay not being all messed up. It goes in, you know, this still looks normal. But players still doing their little stuff. Still very specific looking actions here, very specific looking instructions. So I honestly just think that by the time Mong died, which is pretty much here the game is over. Right here, the game is pretty much over. And he's unburrowing his lurkers, sending in scorches, so it all still makes perfect sense. And he's breaking through. There's still control going on that makes sense, so there's no corruption yet here. Actually, alright, I see why the game corrupted, because that didn't happen. That didn't happen. A lot of different stuff that didn't happen on the previous run-through is now happening. This is very weird. I just rewind it and different stuff is happening. This is completely different from what we were watching just now. I'm so glad I rewinded this one, because now everything starts making sense. Mong goes for a frontal attack. This is so different. This is nothing like what we were watching. Why is Starcraft bugging out so hard? So the fight is still happening here. Both players are still in full control. I'm just going to slow it down because this is exciting. what is gonna happen here. Got that lurker there on the low ground. He's breaking through here on the top side, and he's got more guardians here on the way. This, I can't even describe how flabbergasted I am about what I'm seeing here. The replay uncorrupted and unbroke itself. That just makes no sense whatsoever. So yeah, Luckyback is breaking through, and Mong is with his back against the wall because he cannot produce any more anti-air, and he needs a lot more gateways to be capable of matching those guardians. More guardians and Luminoids are on the way from Luckyback, so Luckyback is actually going to win with something that makes sense and fight his way through. So actually, I was just casting just the last 4 minutes or last 5 minutes that I was casting were corrupted, but now they have uncorrupted, so everything is as it should be, and this is factually what happened in that game. The replay is actually accurate at this point, so look at this. Guardian's there doing the trick, and Mong bit off more than he can chew. Got a lot of Templars there in the back, but those Templars will not be enough, because look at all these units streaming in. Luckyback is completely fine and dandy, breaking through his entire, tearing everything down, which means we're going to be seeing the GG within the next minute or so from Mong. I'm even saying maybe in 30 seconds. The Mong is being quite feisty here and wants to go for a little bit of an attack here with those Guardians. Won't actually, Luckyback might not be able to see them. Oh, he is able to see them. So he has Overlord sight range upgrade finished. All the Devourers are pretty much stasis, so he cannot attack those Corsairs. So the Guardians might actually go down. All those Hardelisks on the low ground are taking care of the Corsairs, while everything is being torn through by the Guardians. And Mong calls the real GG, and Luckyback wins the game in 46 minutes. And the Observer, Rabbit, who I got this replay from, stays a little bit longer. And we actually got the real resolution, the real conclusion to the match. I just don't know why it happens. Like, why wasn't it showing the correct version the first time around we were watching those last 6 or 8 minutes? But nonetheless, I kept faith, I rewinded. It's like hitting the TV when it's showing static. You hit the TV and then it shows what you were watching again. Nonetheless, weird match, fun match. We had ups and downs, broken replays, action, rushes, cheeses, drones dying, Reavers dying, mid-gates dying, proxy builds dying, recalls, mass hallucinations, plagues, everything you can imagine from a Protoss versus Zerg matchup. It all happened, including a broken replay turning into a fixed replay for whatever reason. So thanks for watching. This was RJB for RJB TV Starcraft Cast. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lengthy one. I don't think I'll be doing a lengthy one like this again, because I like shorter games. Because long games tend to kind of become repetitive. This one did not become repetitive. Anyway, I'm talking too much, I'm rambling. So goodbye, have fun, good luck.